I'm the Archivist, and this is First Issues. Today we'll be going over the first issues released for the week of April 2nd, 2014. Before I do that, I am cracking open my collection of random comic-related stuff to bring you this little fella. I know it's a knockoff Fisher-Price chubby thing, but he's so adorable! I did have the Superman counterpart, since it does come in a 2-pack, but I gave it to a friend, and I'm not really sure where it is anymore. So, yes, I know this isn't as awesome as Indigo Tribe Adam, but still, it does fill me with just awe! Okay, it's time to put on the Marvel hoodie before I lose all respect for myself. I don't want to do this, but straight out the gate is Deadpool vs. Carnage #1, written by Caliban with art by Salva Espin. No. Okay, I'll be objective about this, or we'll try to be. This was very neutral. Yes, I dislike the Deadpool character, but he has some great runs and teams that have really made me not hate his character. And Agent X could be considered a Deadpool book, so let me rephrase. I hate the writing on Deadpool most times. The funny thing, Cullen Bunn doesn't go for that completely over-the-top random humor, which is good, making him more insane than funny, since the entire thing is sparked by the TV telling him to go after Carnage. Yeah. But then you give the slight of, it's a mediocre Versus book that really doesn't do a lot, since Carnage apparently is unkillable and Deadpool is apparently unkillable. But, so, if you are one of the unwashed Deadpool fans, go grab Thunderbolts or Remender's Uncanny X-Force. Biasly, I say ignore it. Unbiased, I say wait for the trade. So, let's finally crack into the perpetually delayed Inhuman #1, written by Charles Soule with art by Joe Mordiera and Marty Gracia. So, when something's got the tagline, Marvel's latest epic begins here, and was pushed back by several months, I had a very low expectation for this book. But like usual, Charles Soule actually brings me into the story. Besides giving non-Infinity readers a real explanation for a Tarragon Mist that popped up in many titles, especially started the Miss Marvel title. Though, that does lead me to the question just why this book was pushed back when it does mark off a very new and recent era of the Inhumans being on the planet, which I do think is a way for Marvel to attempt to get non-mutant metahumans into Avengers relatively smoothly. So, final verdict is that I think it's definitely a must-read and maybe buy, but you don't need to own it. Now, onto the movie tie-in comic that feels way too early on launch, Marvel's Guardian of the Galaxy Prelude #1, written by Dan Abnett and Andy Lannings with pencils by Wellington Alves. Say, people who haven't read the Guardians of the Galaxy comics, when you watched the trailer and saw the bald blue Karen Gillan, were you interested in who she was? If you answered yes, then did you go, well, the comics must give us a clear understanding of who she is, and then sorely didn't? Well, congrats. You'll get an all-new backstory that will be glossed over in the film to make room for Van Wilder's adventure in action comedy space. Seriously though, this really would work for after the movie comes out and people have these questions, but there's still 5 months left. Skip it, but I will say go for the next one, if only because it's Rocket Raccoon and Groot's backstory. Finally, we come to a comic that asks, what if Age of Ultron #1 of 5, written by Joe Keating with art by Raphael Lienko. I hated Age of Ultron. It was part of a horrible time when Marvel was trying to backburner the X-Men and make them a B-list team to take away any form of advertisement or even anything that's ever happened to them. And since Avengers is the moneymaker, they took the generally known story Age of Apocalypse, took away the X-Men, added in Avengers, mixed together a bit of need to push Ultron as a threat for the next movie, which is, hey, Age of Ultron. I see what you did there. You saw I disliked the last Avengers movie, so you decided to take it to a new level. Oh, right, the issue. It's good. Go read it. Off comes the hoodie and on to the indie races. The only dark horse in this race is Angel and Fate Season 10, Number 1, written by Victor Gischler and drawn by Will Conrad. Dear cover, I don't care that Joss Whedon is the executive producer of the show. The show is its own thing. The characters are their own thing. Oh well, apparently being creator doesn't matter anymore. Anyways, this was great-ish. It's not as good for me as the Buffy Season 10, as it delves into more of the universe, such as Angel dealing with Magic Town stuff, while otherwise, it really is a good fun read. Pick it up if you're into the Buffyverse, otherwise just go back and check out the past seasons and one-shots. Avatar Press really surprised me with Caliban Number 1 by Garth Ennis and Facino Persio. Caliban is a sight for sore eyes. For lack of a better term, Ennis is tackling that forgotten genre of Lovecraftian 2001 A Space Odyssey. Yes, the whole cosmic horror aspect has been beaten to death in comics, but I think that this world, or rather lack thereof, really works for me. The last few space-related media I've seen have all been visiting unique worlds or fighting new aliens, cosmic adventures over actually showing a more grounded reality. There really is this nice claustrophobia to it, but it's not cold or tight for the sake of tight. It's not Ridley Scott levels of, well, because we need the corridors tiny. For the lack of a better example, this has an alien feel in the characters interacting and the space trucker air about the whole thing. It also, because I completely forgot when I was trying to explain this, Jason actually brought up that it definitely has an Event Horizon feel. And I definitely think it's worth owning. If you're a fan of... Screw it, just buy it! From Boom Studios this week is Dead Letters Number 1, written by Christopher Sabella, with art by Chris Visions. Well, that was something. The art was good, the writing was good. Basically, guy wakes up in a hotel room, he has no clue about who he is, but he's clearly on the wrong end of things, while being chased down by thugs. It's not bad for the most part, but I think you should wait until a couple more issues come out so it can break apart from the standard Who Am I starter issue. I might just be a bit burnt out by that premise though, so take it as is. Over to Image Comics with 68 Rule of War. Story by Mark Kidwell with pen and inks by Jeff Zorno. Hey kids, craving another zombie comic? No! Well, how about a book that story hops around way too much? No! Well then I've got some bad news. Well, this goes for the Vietnam-era zombies, which is a really neatness to them, and these are Golden Age undead, that are just basically gooey skeletons for the most part, which is a really fun, full-color visual. But the story, on the other hand, I'm really hoping there was another 68 series, because this felt a bit diced up, as though having a separate narrative splashed around would make it more interesting. So I'd say look at it, but wait until trade to give it a read. Finally, we end the indie race with Top Cow Comics Shotgun Wedding Number 1, written by William Harms with pen by Edward Pun. Woo, doggy, this was pretty fun. Basically, the plot says it all. A man stands a woman up at the altar, so she goes to her trunk, just so happens to be a cache of weapons, and goes out for revenge. Which, 6 months later, he's off doing his assassin work, and is engaged to someone else. Yeah, okay, we've seen this in way too many rom-coms, with the espionage and love and all that, but This really isn't a rom-com. It plays straight and for the most part sets up a neat story that I'll be following up, so you should give it a read and see if it's for you. I don't get to put on my DC hoodie today, since there's only one DC comic, and Jello decided to snipe that from me. Stay tuned.
Since there's only one DC first issue this week, I get to wear the hoodie and steal the segment from this day. Anywho, today's issue is Aquaman and the Others, #1, written by Dan Jurgens, drawn by Lan Medina. This issue doesn't disappoint, especially if you've been a fan of the Aquaman series like me. This shows all the others from this Aquaman comic storyline from the New 52, now in their own ongoing series. All the characters are there, even Aquaman comes in to save a certain someone's bomb. There's trouble brewing, and everyone really gets together to figure out what's happening. My only problem is the same one I always have when the others are involved. I hate Yawara. A lot. Seriously. But everyone else is awesome, especially Sky Alcacay. Definitely, absolutely buy this. Even if you aren't an Aquaman fan, you won't get lost in it and you will have fun with it. Now, let's join Miss Day over in Flashback Firsties.
This week's Flashback Firsty is for Kelly Carlton. Not for anything special, just to give her that bright, warm, fuzzy feeling that because of her picking it for this FF, I am now in love with this series. Of course, to be fair, I do have to give Elizabeth Freeman a shout out because she's been bugging me to read this since it first came out. So what is this comic that has a lot of my female friends saying I need to read it? Well, that'd be Shadowline production through Image Comics, Rat Queens #1 by Curtis Webb and Rock Upchurch. A couple weeks ago, my dad and I were talking about how recently Star shows have been throwing in a lot of anachronistic swearing just to be more adult. That's actually what was worrying me about the buzz I've heard about this. However, I think that entire adult immaturity angle is where this hits a great stride. It's not immature in the same way Mad Magazine is, where New Kids on the Block sells 15 million copies. It's about four best friends hanging out, sort of immaturity, and there's a natural style of that. If I needed to be quoted for the cover, I'd say it's like if a bachelorette party fueled by candy and drugs broke out into a session of D&D. It's really that awesome. Yes, there is quite a lot of dark humor, with the Kender of the group being a horny, sugar-induced nightmare of adorable terror. So she's just like a Kender, or a smidgen in this story. No, I'm not answering what a Kender is. Go read Dragonlance, damn it! This book is a must-own. I know pricing is always an issue, but the first volume collection has come out. So go pick up the aptly named Sass and Sorcery now. And with that, I'm the Archivist, this is First Issues, and I am so going to go take some more cold medicine. Oh, and I'm changing up the format to the end credits song thing. But still, let me know what song I'm singing to choose what the next Flashback First Issue will be. Take care now. My head's underwater, but I'm breathing fine.